Well, she was born to Roy and Verna Fairchild. She was born in Hollywood. She didn't really let everybody know that, but she was raised by her parents to believe that she could do anything. And she really did feel like she could do anything. And it didn't matter that she was barely 5 foot tall. Her feet reached the ground as far as she was concerned. And she always thought she was the normal one, actually, because she was the only one that was right-handed. But her life was full of love for everything alive. And one of the pictures that I've got in here is of her dad with his baby elephant. He was given this baby elephant by William Randolph Hearst as kind of a publicity stunt. And he wasn't supposed to be able to keep it, but he kept it for a year in his little backyard in San Francisco. And they took the elephant away after a year and gave him a little dog that he named Jip, because he got gypped. But he was the only one that was able to see this elephant at the zoo, and Christie would go with her dad to the zoo to see his baby elephant. And after that, there's just no hope not being an animal junkie. You can see with some of the photos that we have that she was very comfortable in the mountains. She preferred being in the mountains. She made a life out of being out there. She worked as a ranger. She worked as a firefighter. She was on mountain rescue. When I met her, she was a ranger at Ross Lake, and she had her boat, she had her dog with her, which she probably wasn't supposed to. She would give whatever she was doing, she would give literally that 110%. She was fearless about the things that she thought were important. And she had a tremendous idea of self, like she had tremendous love for people. At one point, I talked to Roy, her dad, who was a Presbyterian minister, and I said to Roy, I said, all this stuff about God and Christianity and icons, I said, what is God to you? And he said to me, God is compassion and energy. Which is love. God is love. And, Christie just believed that God was love, and she loved everything. And she was just a little person that was not afraid. She had this bumper sticker that said, I believe in good. And that's really what she believed in. She believed in good. And she wasn't afraid to let anybody know how she felt about it. But people that do know her, it was almost like a Looney Tune cartoon, She'd be leaving the room and whatever was in it would be spinning as she was going to do the next thing. I used to call her Tangent Fairchild. It's just like she was off in one direction and off in another. I couldn't keep track. And so she managed to find a way to get it all. She really did have it all, I mean, I've always been lucky in love, but I got really lucky.
May this blessed community and all who know and loved Christie go with the peace that comes from the gathering in of love's presence. May the memories of Christie be your companion. May they bring laughter and joy when your heart is heavy. May they bring strength when the days are long. May they be a reminder of the gifts of life, so precious and short. On this day and all the days before us, may the sacred uphold you and encourage you in furthering the knowledge and the presence of the love that sustains us through all things. Go in peace, beloveds. Love goes with you. Amen.
So many Christie stories.
Top 5.
All of a sudden, a yearling black bear starts running down Martin Road, right towards us. And And right behind that little bear was one of our neighbors with a gun. And Christie darted out between me and the bear and the neighbor and started screaming obscenities at this neighbor to get the blankety blank 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 out of here, that if he killed that bear, she would kill him. And I like this neighbor. He's a good guy. He's done some stuff for the community. He's done some controversial things too. But I told him I was going to tell this story, and I just was curious. So do you have any memories of that? And he just remembered it exactly like I did. So that was good, right? We were in the same place at the same time. But I always thought, I'm Jewish, and the word chutzpah has deep meaning in my heritage. And that woman had serious chutzpah.
But one such party was the beginning of rain, in about a month's time, sometime in October, the rain would start. And Garrett's girlfriend at the time, and me and a couple other people decided, boy, let's celebrate the rain by making a mud pit right outside of Artie's front door. And we'll slide around in the mud. It'll be great. And Christie's like, yeah. She gets the hose and starts hosing it down even though it's raining. So we're all sliding around in the mud and naked, getting cuts and bruises and, enjoying it. And then we go to come inside to Artie's house and be like, all right, we can go shower. And Artie's like, the hell you do? He stands there with the hose like, you're hosing off outside. And of course, we're like, okay, we'll get hosed off outside. Christie's like, I would let you in, but Artie was keeping it cool, man. He was keeping the show the way it needed to be. Keep at least some of the dirt outside. Some of the dirt made its way in, but he tried to keep some of the dirt out, and that was important in this particular situation.
So I would like to tell a story that I think epitomizes Christie, for me at least. As some of you know, I'm from England originally, and we didn't celebrate Halloween in England. At least we didn't trick or treat. And I didn't really understand it or know much about Halloween, except to involve taking candy from strangers, which I'd actually been told not to do as a kid in England. But then I had a child. And when my son was about 18 months old, it was Halloween. I thought, well, I need to do something. And I decided to go to people's houses with him that didn't get to see him very much during the year. And we went down to Birdsview. I made him a little Thomas the Tank Engine outfit. And we drove down to Birdsview and saw Gerhard and Ingrid at Cascade Mountain Inn, who were thrilled that we showed up because nobody ever came and trick-or-treated at their house. And then we went from there back through Concrete and up to Rockport, and we ended our journey at Artie and Christie's. And Christie was also thrilled that we showed up because nobody really trick-or-treated there. And she didn't have much, and they looked between them and found some caramels and gave my son some caramels. And then the next year, because it had worked, I decided to do the same thing again. And this time when I ended up at Artie and Christie's, she had made caramel apples, which were wonderful. And the years went on, and I had a daughter too, and would make the journey from Birdsview through Concrete down to Rockport. And when my son, Christie always had caramel apples and was always thrilled to see the children. And then one year when my son was about 8 and my daughter was 4, we turned up here at the property and the gate was closed on Halloween. But right in front of the gate was a little table with a light on it with some caramel apples and a note that said, "I'm sorry I can't see you, but please take a caramel apple." And I found out later that that day, October 31st, Christie had returned to North Cascades Institute, where she had worked for 15 years, after her first vacation in years, to find that her job had gone. And she'd been asked to pack up her stuff and leave in 15 minutes. And obviously distraught by that, she came home and closed herself in, tearful, but she still made caramel apples for my children. And that, to me, is who Christie was. Thank you.
How many of you remember Mel Swayze? Yeah. When Mel was dying, I'd come up to say goodbye to him and was feeling pretty blue. And came out to see Christie so I'd feel better. She saw me coming down the driveway and got down and rolled like a dog. She was so happy to see me. That's Christie. Artie was away climbing mountains in Patagonia, and Christie was going to be doing some decorating while he was gone. And I'm 5'3". She called me and said she needed someone to haul to help her hang curtains. This may embarrass you a little bit, Artie, but had stopped by when you two were burning a pasture, and they were both volunteer firefighters in Rockport, and they were arguing. He didn't like how she was holding the hose, and she didn't like how he was holding the rake or something, and they got so involved in their fight that the fire got out of control, and they had to go call the fire department. And we called them Argue and Crispy after that. I love you, man. That's it.
I just miss her so much. We all miss her, don't we? But Christie, dear Christie, you gave us such gifts. Our daughter is pictured there. She's our granddaughter, not our daughter. We love her, but she's our granddaughter. She went on a muley ride on Junior about a year ago or so. It was the high point of Lila's young days. She got up and Artie led her around on the mule, Junior, and then she watched as Junior got fed, and it was love at first sight. And then Christie sent her a muley puppet. Guess what the puppet got named? Junior. They lived with us for 7 months this time. I got diagnosed right after COVID, right before COVID, I guess. And they said ALS then. Christie wrote me a card that said, "Let's promise to always be brave together." And we kept that promise. Really, we're keeping it still. Okay, it's time to sit down. But thank you all for all the caregiving you did and all the love you shared with her. I know it's huge, and I received some myself on Lopez Island where we live, and I wish I could thank my caregivers. Maybe I will. But while I'm alive, I will. I hope so. Because you all do so much, and thank you, Artie. I love you, man.
Everybody is worrying about where they're gonna go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, and so it's all the same to me. I think I'll just let the mystery be. Some say once gone, you're gone forever, and some say you're gonna come back. Some say you rest in the arms of the Savior if in sinful ways you lack. Some say that they're coming back in a garden, bunch of carrots and little sweet peas. Think I'll just let the mystery be. Everybody is wondering what and where they all came
Okay, we're gonna trot on.
Everybody is worried about where they're gonna go